Cool. Looks like we got some people coming in. We'll just give it a bit of time here as folks join and get started. Happy Thursday, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for taking the time today. We're excited to share a little bit more about Fictiv and talk to you all about transparency as well. So we'll get started here in about 1 minute. We're just letting people get in from the waiting room and kind of trickle in. Bit of housekeeping while we're waiting for folks to come in. If you haven't used Zoom webinars before, there's both a chat window as well as a Q&A. So we really hope that this is an active dialogue back and forth. So please ask questions. If you used a Q&A box, you can upvote other people's questions, and we'll definitely try and pull from there specifically at the end of this. And if you want more of a conversations or comments, the Zoom chat box is really good for that. We'll be trying to do as much as we can to engage while presenting at the same time as well. Hi Krista, bye Krista. So really looking forward to it, and I think we'll go ahead and get started. Really excited to talk. So Chris, maybe let's go to the next slide. We can introduce ourselves. Yep. Cool. So I'm Dave Evans. I'm one of the co-founders here at Fictiv, also the CEO. I'm a mechanical engineer by background. And so this feature that we're talking about is transparency. This is near and dear to my heart. So really excited to share about the journey of Fictiv and also what we're building here.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris Lippy, and I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Fictiv. I am a technologist and have been running technology and product organizations for quite some time. I'm responsible for engineering product, and I'll be driving the demo today, so I'll get a chance to talk as well.
Yeah, so wish them good luck for a live demo.
Yes, pray to the demo gods.
Cool. Well, I want to start with a little bit of background on Fictiv for folks that might not be familiar. You know, when we founded the company, it was really on this idea of the manual process trying to find and build physical parts is incredibly challenging. I started my career off at Ford building dashboards, infotainment systems for cars. And what we found was that this idea of once I've made my CAD file, I know the designs I want to get produced. Going from that digital asset to a physical part, it's incredibly challenging. What we constantly hear from our customers is that visibility into that manufacturing system is incredibly hard. Trying to source and find vendors is full of pain and friction. And also the fragmentation of different processes, material types, all these things that you're looking for, it really starts to distract from the entire development process for trying to produce physical goods. And so this was really that core problem we were trying to solve was, how do we think about reinventing this ecosystem and solving this core challenge here today? The second thing that we really feel is, I wonder if this looks familiar to the engineers in the room or for the folks that are in procurement or supply chain. How many times have you been late on a phone call or Skype, or trying to talk to a vendor late at night? Maybe put in chat if you've actually done this before. How many hours do you spend just trying to chase down and figure out where the latest revision of your file is? Where's the quality documentation? We're actually going to run a little bit of a poll here, because I'd love to know how much time you think you spend each month just doing these tracking, trying to find updates related to your manufacturing. So maybe just go ahead and hit one of the numbers there. But what we know is that constant trips to manufacturers, whether they're in the Midwest, maybe they're on the coast, or maybe all the way to China, this is a standard workflow for a lot of development teams. It's something that we hear time in and time out, that it really is a lot of effort and energy. And we believe this takes away from the entire process of trying to get a product to market. And so it's something that we're really looking to solve, and that's getting your time back. If there's one thing that we want to do really well at Fictiv, it's to allow you to focus on what you do best, on designing and building, mechanical parts. And we think this is something that we're world class in, and we can continue to lean in to more and more. So looking at this results, it looks like, folks are spending 1 to 5, or maybe almost 2/3 of people are spending, between 1 to 10 hours actually, trying to find this status. And we think about those hours as time back that you can be spent actually building physical parts, thinking about designing the next great product. And it's something that we're intimately focused on. I love the 16% of people is too many times I stopped counting. Oh my God, I empathize with you so much. The other thing that I think has made this just so challenging, and Chris, if you go to the next slide, is how do you do this during a pandemic? You can't get on a plane anymore. Suppliers have either gone out of business or they have shifts that are lower. And so we found that during a pandemic that this is one of the hardest things to do, that the status quo isn't the same anymore, that it's this friction is exacerbated. It's just harder and harder. And so I wish we had a magic ball, and Chris and I were sitting back, 7 years ago and saying, hey, we should build a company for a global pandemic, like a totally digital supply chain, allowing people to order parts seamlessly. That wasn't the case by any means, but we think that what we've built really helps during this time, whether it's during a global trade war, or it's during pandemics, that we want to help companies stay informed and to shine a light in this black box, which is manufacturing today. So I want to tell you a little bit about Fictiv and what we do. It's really a technology solution driving into this digital era. There's 3 core pillars, for why we believe people use Fictiv every single day. Speed is number 1, faster development. That if your team needs speed, getting products faster, Fictiv is critical tool to helping you do that. The second is guided expertise. We know that manufacturing is incredibly challenging to navigate this water. How do you pick a new material? How do you think about a post-processing, that has to go in really cold temperatures or really hot environments? We're here to be that guided expert to help you pick the right process and the material. And the third major pillar is all around transparency. As an engineer myself, I was constantly frustrated on the black box that was manufacturing. I felt like you take your design and you throw it over the wall and you just pray that something shows up, on Friday, and that it arrives on time. And we believe in being the most transparent company in the entire ecosystem, of showing you where stuff is, understanding how pricing changes with quantity, all these pillars that helps you drive better visibility. And this transparency feature and pillar is what we want to talk about a lot today. And so for folks that haven't used Fictiv, I want to talk to you about what do we mean when we say that it's this digital manufacturing ecosystem? Because we're a unique company. We don't own any machines. We don't own factories. But we think about this ecosystem as 3 critical pillars. The first is our platform. So it's our software. And that's what Chris is going to walk you through today so you can see this. This is the technology that enables you to move faster. The second pillar, or our second P, is our partners. So we find, vet, and manage a global supply chain of partners that helps build your physical parts. These are pre-vetted. We have boots on the ground that actually inspect these partners, and we manage them constantly. And then that third pillar, which I think is the most important thing, is our people. That you'll notice for folks that have used Fictiv, our people is the heart and soul of this company. We believe in taking a very customer-centric approach to helping you solve the hardest problems in manufacturing. So whether this is an application engineer that's helping you walk through complicated DFM feedback, or maybe it's a supply quality engineer that's actually doing the FAI inspections or the quality documentation that's on site with a manufacturing partner. These folks, these people, are really an extension of your team. And what we focus on is mechanical parts. So we focus on the plastics and metals across machining, 3D printing, injection molding, urethane casting. This is our bread and butter. Tight tolerance machine parts, I think through and through, is what people use Fictiv for. And we're really proud of kind of this offering and would love to tell you more about it if you're interested. And I'll give you a couple examples for how people use Fictiv today. The first is you're in really good company. So from folks like Facebook to Lyft that's building autonomous cars to Rise Robotics that's changing the industry in the robotics space, in the industrial space, companies use Fictiv to help speed up their development process. We've produced over 10 million parts through this entire ecosystem, so it's not our first rodeo by any means. And I think what's really important is that it's not just large companies like a Facebook or a Lyft that we help with, it's also small companies as well, all the way to single inventors, that are building the next great product. We're really here to partner with you and help you bring your product to market. So I'll give you a quick example here because I love this product. This is a company called Gecko Robotics. And the reason that I love Gecko is that they're changing their entire industry. Gecko, actually what they do is they build inspection robots. You see it here on the screen that climb up smoke towers and actually do inspections on oil and gas pipelines. And this is an incredibly dangerous industry. In the past, they would have people basically climb scaffolding to measure the inspection points, and folks would die every year from this. And so we partnered and helped Gecko to build this robot that actually measures and inspects all of these smokestacks and gas pipelines at a very incremental measurement. And what happens is you can see here with just their product, this is not a simple machine. It's an incredibly complex mechanical product that has to climb hundreds of feet in the air, and where the tolerances are similar to medical grade or aerospace that they need to actually accomplish this goal. And so for Dylan, who you actually see in the picture here, that it's around a partnership, that we're helping them build reliable parts quickly and be that partner. And so it's all around quality, I think, is for why Gecko relies on Fictiv every single day to bring these products to market. So before we introduce the transparency feature, I wanted to spend a little bit of time about quality because I do think it's the foundation of what we do at Fictiv, and it's a huge differentiator. So for us, quality starts at the very first step of upload. We think about creating a digital transformation that's all around building transparency in the entire process. And the outcome of that is quality. It's around reliability. And so when you upload either your 3D CAD or your 2D drawings or both, we're doing inspections on this right away. We've built this entire engine that does pricing and DFM, designed for manufacturing feedback. And we give that to you so you know the trade-offs. It's not like other folks that do online, like say a Protolabs, where you have to actually take their feedback and you can't modify your part. We work with you to make your part as you design it yourself and ensure that that's in inspection. Your part's then strategically sourced to one of our partners that's pre-vetted and managed. And then we're doing quality measurements all along the way. So I'll show you what this looks like a little bit. And then Chris is gonna run through a demo. So this here is, imagine you upload this part and you give us a 2D drawing associated with this. We are actually going to inspect and measure every single point that's on this drawing. And not only are we going to measure it, we're actually going to give you an inspection report for every single CNC part that you delivered. And this is done in as little as 2 days. So we machine CNC tight tolerance parts starting at 2 days. And you can make that all the way as long as, say, 10 or 14 days if you want to save money, but speeds that pillar. And what you're getting, what we believe is critical, is the confidence that your part is made to spec in that development process. And we think that this is a game changer. We believe that by giving you the data around the quality, it's helping you decide, is it a design issue as I'm going through that development process, or maybe it's a manufacturing issue that the tolerances weren't hit or achieved. And we think that this helps teams move faster and in a much more agile way. So I want to walk through before I kind of hand the mic off to Chris here. And I want to talk a little bit around what is this transparency feature. And I'll pause a little bit that I would love to know if there's any questions kind of about Fictiv, or if there's anything that you would like to see. Just a reminder, please put it in the Q&A box or in the chat window. We'd love to have a conversation with you. So when we launched this feature, which is transparency, we wanted to put manufacturing data at your fingertips. We believe that there's a black box, which is manufacturing today, and we wanted to shine a light on that black box for one reason alone. Well, maybe multiple, but it's really to help you make faster decisions. So we believe that if we could give you more data at your fingertips, that you can actually start making decisions earlier in that process. And ultimately, that helps you compress your development cycles and speeds everything. We know that if you can get to market sooner, that this is actually going to help you build a better product. And so what is this transparency feature? What are some of the elements specifically around it? The first thing is that we want to help you give live production and logistics tracking. So we want to help you see where your part is in every stage of the manufacturing process. So whether it's the order's been placed, it's been scheduled, production has started. We actually kind of call this the Domino's pizza tracker. But imagine that rather than tasty pizza that you get tasty CNC parts or injection molded parts delivered to you. This is something that, I think is really missing in the industry. The second thing that we heard a lot is that it's really challenging to find my DFM that I did before the part was made and what the actual quality data was at the end of the day as well. And so we give you a place to store and track all of this information, both of the DFM that you agreed to before the order was placed. Maybe that's a rounded corner or an undercut or a tolerance that you opened up, as well as the actuals for when the part's produced. And what's really awesome is this data and information is available to you before we ever ship the parts as well. So you actually have this in your fingertips. And then the third thing is we make all of it really easy to share. We know that for companies, your manager is asking, can you send me that quality report? Or you have, someone from finance that needs to see the invoice or the purchase order that you used or a credit card receipt. We put this all in one centralized place, again, to do one thing, to help you save time and make faster decisions. Before I give kind of the mic to Chris here and we go into the demo, I did see one question come in, and it was around injection molding. And so I'll just answer that here, that you have the ability to choose if the parts are actually made, Jackie, both in the United States or domestically and overseas. We give you an A versus a B, and we want you to really be able to make these type of decisions, that around speed versus cost, and any other parameters that's really important for you. So I'm going to go ahead and give the kind of screen to Chris and let him walk through the demo. But please put more questions in the chat, and I'll make sure to answer them as Chris is walking through the demo.
Great, thanks, Dave. So I'm going to start us here on our website. I encourage everyone to follow along. If you want to go create a free account on your own while I'm going through this, just go find www.fictiv.com. There's an easy get a quote here if you've already got an ID, or go through the account creation process. So you can see there's nothing to install here. This is all browser based, really easy for you to get started. I'm going to be playing the role of a mechanical engineer that's working on, some sort of NPI team. So we're working on a new project. We're pretty early in the development cycle, and we just want to move really, really fast. I'm responsible for one part, and I've got some pretty critical deadlines, and I want to get this part produced quickly. I'm coming into my account with Fictiv, and I have a variety of quotes that are already kind of in flight. But because this is a new project, I'm going to start from scratch. So I'm going to grab the CAD file that I've got, drop it in here to the landing site. What's going on here behind the scenes is we're running a variety of manufacturing simulations. So we're identifying things like what kind of tool paths do we need to run, what kind of cutters are required, how many setups, how much material. We're doing all of the work to understand any of the DFM based on how you configure this part as we go through. Our goal here is that we want to create a really easy, fluid experience for you. So you'll see how fast and responsive this is as we go through. So I can open up this simple 3D viewer, spin my part, make sure that it's the right part that I wanted to get quotes on. And from here, I can go ahead and start doing the configuration. Obviously speed is important. I think you probably all have anyone who's tried to get a quote for a part today, if they're using local shops or whatnot, it could be days to weeks before you get quotes back on parts. Obviously what we're endeavoring to do here is provide very instant feedback so you can make all of the trade-off decisions that you need to based on material, speed, quantity, and so on. So I'll take a quick look and say, it's an arbitrary case here, but we're going to print this. an FDM with PLA, you can see how fast it is, and we're giving you the price and the different production speeds that we'll offer for that part and when it'll come back to you. For this demonstration though, let's build this in CNC. I'll scroll through here briefly. These are all the materials that we offer here on platform. So you can see there's a variety from soft metal all the way into soft hard metals and into plastics that we can machine for you. In this case, let's select 70, 75, and we'll keep this at a quantity of 1. We're at the initial parts of our development cycle. I could obviously ratchet this up to 100 if I needed 100 of those, but let's keep it here at 1. I'll save that off. You can see it's quite more expensive because we're machining this and rather than printing it. But again, instant feedback on your price. So what are we seeing here? I've got a finishing feature where right online, which is unique for many of the other companies that are out there, I can open up the variety of finishes that I'm looking to add to my part. And I'm giving you instant feedback on the number of manufacturing days that it's going to take to do that finishing, and also the per each cost to do that manufacturing. I can select the different colors that I might want. Let's just select simple ano. I'm also going to select media blasting for this. What our engine is going to do here is it's going to understand the order of execution on these, and we're also not going to allow you to finish things that don't make sense together. So if I add this up, I can see that I've added a few days, 3 days to this part, and nearly $400 to the overall price of the part. So next up here is, if I don't have any additional requirements, or if I don't have a 3D drawing, I can just basically order as is and accept our general quality and tolerance standards here on the ISO 2768. But if I do have a drawing, our engine also supports that. So I can do a simple upload of a file. So I can upload the drawing that I might have, and what I'm doing here is we're actually now going to read that drawing and assess whether or not there's any additional features in that drawing that would actually change our price. You can see it adjusted for about $10. What it's actually doing is it's picking up the holes in that drawing. So if you don't have a drawing, we're calling out tolerances or variety of dimensions. We also have features where you can specify some of your configurations right through our tool. So you can come into our threaded hold configuration wizard. We're identifying that there's 3 different holds that are in this part. We're also already looking at the dimensions, and we're picking out the options that you have for tapping that hole. In this case, I'm just going to return back to my quote. Come back into my configuration, and I'm going to just leave this as no additional requirements just for simplicity on this demo. Next step that I've got here is I can look at the variety of speed options. So, in this case, I'm trying to move fast, so I'm going to select 6 days. But if I had a little bit more time, I was at a different stage of my cycle, I can select one of our overseas options, and you can see that you can save quite a bit of money. If I need my parts produced in the US, I can still save a little bit of money with some of my longer lead times here on 10 days. But for the sake of this demo, let's say we're moving really fast. We want to get through as many development cycles as we can before we get this product to market. So let's move along quickly. Okay, so I'm going to close this out. Let me delete my file that I attached there before. And now what I notice here on my screen is I've got my part configured, but I notice I've got a couple of feedback notifications here. So what we're doing is we're providing you online DFM. And so in this part, if I select the warning that we're highlighting, I can come in and zoom in to what our issue is. And what we're identifying through our engine is that we've got a thickness potential problem here. If this were really serious, we would have blocked it. We would have put that this has failed DFM. We can't produce this for you. In this case, it's a warning. If you do have questions and you want to speak to one of our application engineers, you can simply open up our chatbot here, and you'll get connected with somebody who can help you on that. You're always free to call us as well if you want to talk through any of the DFM we provide or anything else that we can give you some guided expertise on. So again, really important to get all of this, we're moving really fast here, within a course of about 5 minutes. We've gotten DFM, we've gotten all the pricing trade-offs. I've been able to add all the finishing options that I have to that part. Okay, so at this point of the process, I'm ready to check out. Or actually, let me step back just for a second. I know not everybody is going to be the purchaser for the parts that they're configuring. In my case, in this demonstration, I'll check out. But should I want to actually share this quote with my boss, maybe they want to look at the details of it, or maybe they've got the credit card that could actually place the order. Maybe they've got an account with Fictiv where they can put this order on PO. So I can invite collaborators to this. Maybe I need to put my whole team on here so we can all kind of get all of our parts together in one basket and then check out together. But you can collaborate with your colleagues, maybe your design firm, your boss. I can also see who I've given access to, and I can moderate and remove people from having access to my quotes should I want. But for the sake of this demo, let's go ahead and check out. This is pretty traditional e-commerce workflow. You guys have all seen that on Amazon or wherever you've bought stuff online. I can either pay through Fictiv's shipping accounts. I can use my own shipping accounts if I've got one that I can use. For this demo, I'm in a rush. Let's pick this overnight option and use Fictiv to buy that transportation. I'm gonna put in my my purchase order because I've got an account with Fictiv. Simple as that, and I'm gonna place my order. Okay, so this is our first view of what we're talking about today around transparency. At this point, we've received the order. So Fictiv has taken that order from you. It's confirmed. You're going to get an email notification from us. And nothing else has happened, but we're starting to show you that Domino's pizza tracker for all of your production fulfillment tracking information. So it's in a status of order received at this point. So now what's happening behind the scenes here? So because I haven't provided a drawing myself, we're actually going to generate on our platform a two-dimensional drawing that we're going to use to either specify the holes that you might have configured or any of the other callouts that we put onto that drawing with our application engineers that might have engaged with you during the DFM process. That two-dimensional drawing is going to be made available to you as you go through this process, so you can see where all of our inspection points are as well. As Dave mentioned earlier, every single part that we manufacture is going to get a quality of what we call our Fictiv 5 quality inspection report. So we're putting things on there, and whether or not it's end-to-end kind of dimensional inspections that we want, or the variety of hole depths that we are wanting our manufacturing partners to validate. There's a variety of things that we're going to put in to that two-dimensional drawing, which I'll show you as we kind of go through this process. The next thing that we're doing is our technology is identifying the best partners in our network to fulfill your job. So we're going to look at the speed of the order delivery, the location that you might be in, and where our location of our manufacturing partner is, their capabilities, their capacity, and so on. And then finally, any of the markings that have been made on any drawing that you have actually given us, in that case, we're going to actually effectively sanitize that. So all of your markings are going to get pulled off of any aspect of your job. As Dave mentioned, these are fully vetted manufacturing partners that we work with. One of the value that many of our customers see is that there's a disintermediation there. So as far as our manufacturing partners are concerned, every single part that we produce is for Fictiv. They actually don't know who the customer is, and this is there to protect your intellectual property. Okay, great. So as part of the Fictiv 5 process, we'll imagine here, I'll spare you the details of the underlying proprietary and ERP technology that we use to make all of the fulfillment happen with our fulfillment team. Once the part has been produced, our manufacturing partners are using our technology to run through our inspection process, provide all the inspection material and photos. They're working with our QC team who's doing the final inspection reviews, taking their own photos, or perhaps adding additional inspection materials, whether it's a COC or any of the other documentation that's required for that job. So once that part is ready to ship, you're going to get a notification that that part has now been produced and is ready for fulfillment through logistics. And like any good cooking show, you know, effectively, I've built an order here already that's pre-baked. So the cake has been in the oven for a while, and I'll show you what this part looks like once it comes back to you. So in that first view, we just show that the order had been received and production was pending. All through the development cycle, you're going to see this pizza tracker light up with other information. You're going to see whether or not it's now in production, whether or not it's in QC or it's ready for QC. And then finally, you're going to see when it's shipped. So first thing that you're seeing here is that this part was shipped yesterday, and its estimated delivery date is going to be tomorrow. The other thing I'll point out here is, like any good e-commerce kind of experience, you can pop into UPS or FedEx. This is a demo, so this is actually, you know, not a shipment that's been fulfilled, obviously, but you can get that information, so you can actually see all the steps in the logistics. Even more during the pandemic, you know, this is important. We all know that logistics challenges have existed now for many months. So getting the ability to understand the tracking information once it's, you know, out of Fictiv's physical control and over to the carriers, getting visibility into that tracking helps you give real confidence on whether or not that part's going to make your production window or those sets of parts. The other thing that I'm going to show here is that all of the DFM, so any of the conversation that you've had with Fictiv, is minted forever on this part. So I don't know about you, but you know, a lot of customers that we have spoken with, it's, you know, 30 days from now, you're trying to figure out, well, why was this part manufactured the way that it was? And oh yeah, what was that conversation I had with the Fictiv application engineer or support team to understand, and, you know, whatever I approved there. All this information is minted and you can always get back to it on the part. And so, and here's where we're, you know, really kind of showing the quality closed loop. So if I click this inspection button, what I'm seeing first off right here is all of the photos. So again, that proprietary technology that I described that we've got embedded with all of our manufacturing partners allows us to get high quality, high resolution photos right from the shop floor. So some of these manufacturers are running around in the shop, they're producing parts for all their customers. All they need to do is get on their mobile device, take a picture and load it into the product. And then our own QC labs are also taking photos for specific features that we believe we need to show. And this is all done before the part has been shipped. So if you think about that horror story of, oh my God, I've got to get this by Friday, and I'm not sure if it's going to make it on time. I'm trying to call my suppliers. They're not really helpful, or I'm sending emails and I'm trying to chase them for updates, and it's the middle of the night and I've got a trade show to go tomorrow where the whole team's going to have to put this thing together right at the end. What this gives me as a mechanical engineer is real confidence that what I've specified is going to show up on time and in the way that I've designed it. So if I notice that there's no hole here, I better bring a drill to that trade show to make sure that I'm going to fix that part, or call us, and obviously we'll make it right and figure it out and how to get that to you. So getting this information before the part has even been produced is a major aspect of what we're talking about here with our transparency launch. So, you know, this 3D viewer allows you to zoom in, you can rotate it, a variety of things that you can do here. We talked about the Fictiv report. So I'm popping out here and showing what the Fictiv report looks like. So the dimensions or the various inspection points that we have pulled out are then signed off on by the manufacturing partner. So you can get real confidence that it's meeting the dimensional requirements that you've got on your part. I'll also show the 2D drawing that we produced as part of our platform, since in this case we did not provide a two-dimensional drawing. So this is platform generated. You'll see it looks like a Fictiv part. All your markings are not on there. There's nothing about you know, who I am as a customer, and the various inspection points, those 3 inspection points that you saw on that Fictiv report. So this allows you to see what we inspected. You can see what the manufacturer that's actually running the machine has signed off on and measured. And then all of this documentation is also inserted into the box for when you get it at your loading dock or at your home these days. Next up is the various other parts of the inspection process that we have. So all of this documentation, so in this case, it's a COC provided by Fictiv. On this specific order, we also ordered a CMM. So all of that documentation is made available here in that single place that Dave talked about earlier. Okay, great. So at this point, I want to brag a little bit because my stuff is on time, it's on its way. And I have an easy button here to go in and download all those files into a nice zip payload. And I went to the wrong place. Demo fail, but you can see all of the documentation that that we produced, that we went through the UI. You can take this zip file, send it off to your team, send it off to your manager, whoever it is that requires to get that documentation about that job. Okay, so that's that. Happy to answer questions, and I'll send it over to you, Dave.
Cool, appreciate you running through. And I always love, one, the part, but I also love the ability to see all the photos kind of beforehand. One of the big questions we have, and we're going to launch another poll here, and then we'll open it up for kind of questions from the rest of the folks, but we'd love to know how many folks and how often that you guys actually inspect and measure parts when you receive them. One of the big things that we believe is that we want to help save you a step by actually being able to check these parts into inventory or having confidence that the parts you're getting meet the specs of either your 3D CAD or your 2D. So I'm curious how many of you that are on this are actually inspecting or measuring parts and maybe even reworking them when you receive them. So click on there, and then I'll also ask if you finish the poll. Would love to know if there's any specific questions that folks have, and feel free to use that Q&A box or the chat window. So we'll just give it maybe 10 or 15 seconds for both the poll and to see if there's questions either about Fictiv or this new feature that we're launching. That's great. So all the time, and a lot of the time, it's almost 2/3 of you, with 0 people ever saying never, which I just love. We know this for a fact, that it's not about just producing the 3D models or how the assembly is going to work. It's actually about getting the parts into your hands and then saying, this hole that I had at 5.2 millimeters plus or minus 0.1, does it actually meet that spec? And our hope is that through this transparency feature, as well as the manufacturing data that we're making available, we can actually save you that time not to have to inspect every single feature on the part, that you can reference the inspection report that comes on every single part that you get. And hopefully this saves you time and gives you and your team, a lot of confidence as well, because it's all around keeping your production workflow on track. So I'll go ahead and kind of leave it with everyone here that we hope that you try this out. If you don't have an account yet, you can go to fictiv.com to actually create an account and upload your files. And secondly, if you already have placed orders with Fictiv in the last month or so, this feature should be available. So you should be able to see all of that data at your fingertips directly on your account if you log in. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either Chris or myself. I'm just Dave at fictiv.com, and would love to spend the time to talk to you personally, both around what you're building and what you're trying to accomplish, or to tell you more about Fictiv as well. This is something we're incredibly passionate about, and we hope that this new feature and pillar around transparency starts to change your entire workflow as well. So thanks so much for tuning in today, and appreciate all of you, and happy building. Good luck. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.